Hello.
How's everyone doing today? We are live on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Good to see everyone. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Hi, Evelyn. Good to see you
Hi.
again.
How
I,
are you?
I don't think I've seen you on Zoom calls, me and you, this long since even during COVID, we weren't having this many chats.
I would have to agree, especially not on a weekend.
I don't know.
That's hard. That's hard to juggle.
How is your Sunday coming along?
um, it's good. It's just it's hard to get started on things when every couple of hours we're on a different Zoom call, which is good.
We have one more tonight at 8 o'clock to welcome all our new members.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to welcome everyone here. If you are listening in live, please do feel free to drop us a comment where you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you. For those of you who are on Instagram, we can see you as well. So just drop us a comment. YouTube, I cannot see right now, but definitely try on LinkedIn so we can see where you are from and get some questions in and make sure that the comments are working. I hope that they're working here. So just give us a heads up. I'm going to try and see on my LinkedIn chat as well. So Evelyn, here's the story. I know we spoke last night at midnight, and today we are going to take in some of the questions that are coming from the aftermath of yesterday's live, where we were talking a little bit about some of the follow-ups from physiological anxiety, and we're going to talk about two questions that came in online, and then a couple of them that came in from the Hacking Anxiety Bootcamp. So how about we get rolling straight off the bat with them? So one of the first questions was about intuitive eating. Someone wanted to know if intuitive eating and difficulties with that is connected to physiological anxiety. Now, I know that we recently did a podcast with Gila Glassberg on this, but maybe let's just talk a little bit about some of those points and why that person may have been asking those questions, and what does it mean when we're dealing with anxiety when it comes to intuitive eating.
Go ahead. You can start off.
So the first thing I want to mention is that when we were doing our Hacking Anxiety Bootcamp, for those of you who were part of it, you realize that in the first and second day, we spoke a lot about the root causes, how you can determine what it is or where your body is showing signs of that physiological anxiety, which means that disconnect between that body and brain. And we spoke about the sensory integration systems, about reflexes, as well as about the components of neurotransmitters. For a lot of us, if we were raised having a hard time with our physiological development, meaning our sensory systems or our reflexes, the absence of having natural hunger cues may have elicited certain stress responses within our cells, which eventually leads to neurotransmitter issues, which means like hormonal issues. So what happens is when we're young, our parents are really dominating what they're serving us and how the mechanism of eating comes into play. But we may actually have that need or lack of need of understanding our hunger cues in general. And again, let's think about it. Babies don't come to their mothers and start crying and say, I want food or I need food. They cry and we go with the idea that they might need food, we feed them. Then when they're 1 or 2, they say, I want cookie, I need cookie. They're expressing it. For some of us, it's kind of like sometimes the food chain is really dominated or kind of adhered to from an outside external source. And internally, we're not having that. Let's say the mother says, I want you to finish your plate, or I think you need to have more of this, or you don't need that much of that. So the cues that we're supposed to really learn about internally, we somehow disconnect from our schemas and from our body. And that can lead to either overeating or undereating or body schema issues or all these different components. So the physiological anxiety piece can really be stemming if we are in that loop response all the time, or if we just haven't learned about that basic need of what it means to feel in our system, in our interoceptive system, that we're actually hungry or not. I'm not sure if you wanted to share anything else on that.
No, I think you that really answers the questions. I'm going to speak to the fact of when you are dealing with that situation, and we were talking about hacking anxiety, right? So if you are dealing with the component of intuitive eating, when you are able, depending on when it started, in terms of understanding what it means to intuitively need to eat because of the cues that you're picking up on from your body, depending on how old you were, when it comes to becoming less anxious, and when you're dealing with the anxiety and you're treating it at the root cause or the source, many times we already have so many schemas about what we like and what we don't like. And I want to put out there that if it happens from a very young age and you take care of the root cause, and we're talking about children, then many times as you get to teenage years, because of the way our sensory systems work, there is more of a likelihood of tapping into that sense and other systems helping with the awareness of expanding the repertoire of the foods that you may want to like. But if you are a little older and you're realizing, hey, I don't really know what intuitive eating feels like, I can't really connect to that because of the cues that I'm misinterpreting or I'm not getting, or I'm, having difficulty with other things, then you really have to work towards understanding what that means for you by really listening to what your body is telling you and redirecting or reframing the schemas that we have in our head as it relates to the foods we like and what does it really mean for me. And for some people, that's very, very, it's challenging. It's a challenging piece.
And it's also sometimes very time consuming at
Right.
times. So, there's a lot of energy that comes into play just in trying to be intuitive, because we don't even know what we are. We don't have a presence of how we're feeling or what we're thinking, especially when it comes to food. I know we know this when we're talking about regulation or our emotions, but this also can come and interfere with the way that we're picking up on those basic needs. So I hope for that person who asked that question, this gave you some context. And I'm going to post in the comments for this event a link to the podcast that we did with Gila. It was just recently, I think it was last month. She posted it as well on her podcast, and we'll share that link with you so you can get some more reference. Okay, let's talk about another question that came in. This came in last night during our live. I somehow missed it. So I want to address it because this is actually a member's question as well. She participated in the boot camp. And her question, this came from Yehudis. Let me just find it. Where is that question? Right here. Okay. What a treat to have midnight snack with you. What are your experiences with treating kids with PANDAS, age 5, and how to address behavioral issues in a healthy way to avoid creating a secondary problem, parentheses, behavioral? And of course, providing guidance to teachers who are already overwhelmed with others in the classroom. Thank you. Okay, so I think this is a little ironic because I think we started.
We
had
did.
another.
We started with our live with addressing PANDAS. If
Right. So
it's
maybe.
connected to anxiety, I think that was the question.
So how about we recap for those folks who weren't there live, and also for those folks who are on these new platforms, and let's share a little bit about that. So you want to get started on that, and then we'll
Sure.
talk
So
about
what we were
techniques.
talking about is when we're dealing with PANDAS, it is something whereby a child may present with a lot of behavioral issues, maybe some even neurological issues. You could have things like tick-like behaviors. You can have that the child is not feeling well. They're very behavioral. They could be impulsive. And it's usually coming, for those of you who don't have familiarity with it, with having the presence of strep in your blood for a prolonged period of time. We're talking about children who may present with repetitive strep. They take antibiotics and then it comes back or it never really goes away. And sometimes you can also have that they're not testing positive for strep, but they've had strep in the past, but the behaviors are continuing. And if you take a blood test and they test for certain levels, then it could be that they have PANDAS. I know that PANDAS is something that's a little bit controversial, that not every pediatrician I'm going to put out there believes in it or diagnoses
Acknowledges it.
PANDAS, acknowledges it, but it's a real thing. And if a child, I know within our practice, that if a child is suffering with sensory issues, transitioning behaviors, maybe even reflexes that haven't been integrated, or even some neurochemical pieces, because this definitely causes shifts in the physiology of obviously of a child, then when they have PANDAS concurrent with the issues that they're having, they're going to have an exacerbation of their symptoms. And I know on our end, many times we even will choose sometimes to not treat, especially if it's going to cause reactions in our children, because of the fact that they're already in a hyperreactive state. So it's almost like counterintuitive on some level. It's not nice, it's not right to make them go through those things at the same time that they're experiencing things. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to share, like, we sometimes are the ones who are encouraging the parents to go to discover if there's that issue, because
Right.
as therapists, it's your obligation to know that when you're giving exercises or treatments, you know what the effects will be. And when my sister and I hear reports from parents that the responses are too hyperactive or too extreme, that's a clear sign that the reactions are coming from a different place rather than that neurodevelopmental piece that we're working on. So for this parent who's out there, I would tell you that the tips that if I had to suggest when it's coming to those behaviors is really to work on your own regulation and disconnect from the presentation of what the child is showing. If we can understand that they're not behaving in this way because of intention or thought or any kind of true parameters that they have to really behave in this way, but it's really coming from a physiological reaction to how this internal inflammation is occurring within them, it can give us a little bit of an understanding. What do we do with the teachers? That's a good question. Yeah, go ahead first.
I just want to also share, it's important what you said about the parent being regulated, but I also feel like when we're dealing with children like this who are in a heightened state, I think it's also behooves us to decrease the demands that we have on the children. I'm not saying that you allow behaviors, because some kids, by the way, can become physical, they can become extremely reactive and volatile and emotional. I'm not saying you allow it, but you deal with the behaviors and at the same time decrease the pressure that you may be putting on a child during these times of reactivity. A child who has PANDAS, by the way, is going to have peaks even within the PANDAS when things are heightened, but even when they're not actively, let's say, having strep, they're going to have moments of reactivity. So while you're working on your regulation, also, especially, that's one of the tips, by the way, that I would give in school, that we decrease the demands on that child. We don't let them be behavioral, but we know what they need. And if they need input, or if they need a behavioral approach that's different, where you remove the child from the situation rather than put it in their face and have them deal with it head on, that may be something that would be more beneficial, because the child is not really understanding or able to really react in the way that we want in this heightened state. I interrupted you. I apologize. Go ahead.
No,
I
it's
just
okay.
wanted to
No,
bring that piece in.
I find it fascinating that here we are within 24 hours and we're getting the same kind of question. This is really obviously a topic that we should delve deeper. And I know we have a podcast episode on it. For those of you on LinkedIn, I'll make sure to post that as well. For those of you on Instagram, you can DM us, and on YouTube, we'll post it as well. But I just want to share that this is a very, very hard kind of diagnosis because the medical field sometimes is not always acknowledging it, and the protocols are not always clear cut. Sometimes they'll do things with bone marrow, sometimes they'll do things with medication, sometimes they'll do things with nutrition. And if you participated in our Hacking Anxiety Bootcamp, or even if you listen to our talks, all of those treatments can actually impact physiology. So even though we're shifting and trying to heal a medical condition, it could be impacting the behavior. So it's hard sometimes for parents and teachers to isolate that. So it's really, really important to set up the boundaries as to what behaviors we can tolerate and manage. And the other ones, I don't want to say excuse, but kind of show a sign of grace or forgiveness, recognizing that, if we had someone who was going through the flu and they were weak and tired, we would be patient with them. We would allow them to stay in bed and to relax and do what they need to do. And here in this case, they may need some of that time to decompress and not be in that active state of focus and being attentive. That was something that came through for me in the last 12 hours. I would say even less than 12 hours. We're not even, into the night yet. And we got this question twice.
I also want to stress that I think we have to empathize and we need to validate the children's feelings and reactivity, because it's something that's above or more so than what they typically go through. They don't feel good during this period. So while you are working on your own regulation, teaching kids or acknowledging, yes, you're feeling a little bit more, and let's help you deal with the emotions, is also an important piece, because you may help them create the shifts they need. While you're not allowing behaviors, that they should continue to be able to create a way to deal with their own emotions and their own intensity, they need that empathy. We have to give it to them in general, but even more so during the times of PANDAS.
All right, I appreciate that.
Flare-ups, I should say, of PANDAS.
I want to just mention again, for those of you who are listening live, welcome. We're so grateful for you being here. Please feel free to drop in any question. This is your time. We're here to address anything that happened from the boot camp. If you have any question about anxiety or neuroscience, this is our opportunity to be present for you as we are launching this week and this weekend our Transcend membership opening, which is only open once a year. We are thrilled to have you all here. So if you have any questions, this is your opportunity. We would like to be able to support you. Don't be concerned about, asking questions on any topic related to neuroscience and development. Okay, so then we had a couple of questions that came in about the membership. So for those of you who are new and don't know about our membership, we have a membership that is less than 2 years old called the Transcend membership, and it is a membership that was created by our community. It was first asked from us to create a membership, but we were like, what kind of membership would you like? And the community itself, the founding members, created this membership. This is a membership that provides clarity. Is that you, by the way, Evelyn?
Yeah, that's a motorcycle.
Okay, I think we've dealt with everything here. Kids, motorcycles, we've got construction workers.
At least the internet is holding up, right?
Yeah, at least we're not having like the flying moths and birds again, like we've had last time.
Or that we shut down in mid boot camp for a minute. Go ahead.
I think we're pros at this. We've gotten all the.
There are some things you just cannot control, and you just need to surrender to it.
Thank you for that reminder. Okay, moving on. So we started this membership less than 2 years ago, really based on the needs and the demands. Many folks are not able to come to us privately, or they were hearing our talks. They wanted to get deeper in the learnings. They wanted to get practical applications for themselves. And we created this membership off our premise and our belief about quieting the noise, having the belief that we need to determine for every single person their unique pattern, their unique needs to help themselves, to help their children, to help their clients and who they serve, whoever it is that's in your life. And with that, the membership was created and it's still formulating. We're constantly reviving it. And I just want to thank all the members who are listening to this broadcast. Thank you so much for creating this beautiful, beautiful community. It's a place where we share knowledge. We also provide support for anyone who's going and trying to work on their anxiety, perhaps their development, their children's anxiety, their clients' development. And we launch this only once a year for a reason. We want to create safety within the community that we've built. And the only way we can do that is by being fully present for those that we're serving. So we don't spend all year talking about Transcend. We spend 1 week or so really trying to, bring in some new folks in the community who may not know about this wonderful resource. And we share that with you. And some of the questions that came in is people heard about some of the bonuses that we're having. I'm not sure if I can share that. Let me see if I can present some of the.
Are all of them still available? I'm not even sure that they're
all
right.
So I'm going to try and see what I can share that is still available. And there were a couple of questions that came in. They wanted to know. Let me see here. Oh, I think you see everything though, don't you? Let me see here. Let's cross that out. Do you see anything being shared now?
No. Okay. Now I do.
Yeah. What do you see?
No. Now what? Go back to what you were doing before.
Trying to see here. Okay, you don't see anything. Oh, you mean you saw something and then I took it away?
Yeah, but I saw it, I think, on Instagram, not on LinkedIn.
That's interesting. That's not.
Try it again.
All right. How about now? Do you see this?
I see it on LinkedIn. I don't see it yet on Instagram.
Okay, it'll pop up.
It's delayed. Okay, it's delayed. Now it's on both.
Great. So let's go to the membership and share with you what it is that we are offering. I'm just going to go back here. We had some bonuses and there were a couple of questions that came in about the bonuses. So just to share with you, these are testimonials. Oh, people wanted to know, first of all, about what they get. What does green room access mean? So in the membership, you're going to get monthly modules of learning, a live Q&A with us, private community, as we mentioned, and a Path to Success program, which is a program, a 6-week program that we've designed to help you to reach whatever goal you're reaching for. Whether you want to work on your time management, productivity, anxiety, your child's difficulties, reading issues, communication issues, we created a program that helps guide you to getting to that next step. We also have something called green room access. And this is the question that most people had was, what does that mean? So when my sister and I do a live recording, this means that you'll get access to that recording and have the opportunity to ask follow-up questions afterwards with no one hearing about it afterwards, in the sense that we don't publicize these questions is your private way of getting kind of like a green room access with just us alone on the information that we spoke about. The Vault is our searchable database, kind of like our Google. You can talk about any topic. And of course, you have first dibs to any of our programming. When it comes to the membership, regarding the pricing, we still have 2 annual year memberships that are available at $400. That's last year's price. So if you're planning on joining, hop on there. Again, we're closing the membership tomorrow at 12 p.m. We do always find there are always those late folks who hop on and start taking all those great deals. Try if you want to catch that beforehand. But if you come at $47 a month, you can cancel at any time. You cannot go back because you're going to have all the access to all of the downloadables, but you can always cancel. So that was another question that came in there. So let's talk about the bonuses that are available. Yeah, go ahead, Evelyn.
No, I think the cancel, you mean the monthly you can cancel.
Yes, you can cancel the monthly. The annual cancels every year. There's no prorating.
Right. But anyone who, I just want to say, anyone who partakes of the annual, though, if there's 2 more people, or even in general, by the way, there's a discount for whether you sign up annually. But if you take part of the last bonuses, 2 bonuses we have, the 2 slots, it's like a huge savings on the annual membership.
Great. Yeah. You're getting about 2 months free. So there's a lot of value in that as well. And
more than that.
It's more than that.
It's more than that if you have the bonus.
Right, that's right. And you can't really switch. I just want to mention, you can't go from monthly to
Right, that's an important
annual.
point, that you have to choose which one you want. We sometimes do give, I think we gave our members an opportunity to switch beforehand if they wanted to.
Right, before the price
Went
increase, we gave them that opportunity, but we're not sure if we're going to be increasing the price next year. So we're just going to be keeping it at this for now. Yeah, go ahead.
I also just want to mention, though, wherever you sign up, this is important, whether you signed up as a founding member or the couple, I think we had 2 times a soft launch, or now you're signing up, even though we may not be raising the price. When the price does go up, as long as you're a member in good standing, the price that you come in at is the price that you will have for life. So as the price goes up, whether it's the annual or the monthly, as long as you are in the membership, then the price does not change for you. And we have some founding members who are here for 2 years and the price does not change.
And we were always adding, we're always giving discount on our courses, sometimes 50% off. So the first bonus is actually expired for the Ask Me Anything session that's happening tonight. But we do have this second bonus that's going to be happening here, still happening if you sign up by tonight, which is the free access to sensory versus behavior. And we also have the fast action bonus. I'm sorry?
I was just showing the book that we have here.
Oh, great. And we also have this beautiful copy of Get to the Root at a Glance Guide. Evelyn is showing it to you so you can check it out. And this has all different diagnoses. This is worth thousands of dollars that we've collected and put together with sources of where those root issues are coming from, how to address them, what kind of professional to go to, what kind of questions to ask. It's invaluable. Members love this. This is not for sale. You cannot purchase this anywhere. It's trademarked by us. Definitely a wonderful, wonderful fast action resource that's worth it. Okay, and we're closing tomorrow at 12 p.m. Okay, so I hope that answered that question. How do I stop sharing? Here we go. Okay, and then there was actually some questions, actually not so many questions, but we realized this morning that people may not understand what it means by community. This is a community that you create in the sense, like any question you have for us, my sister and I are hanging out in Transcend. And if you're on LinkedIn, you know that I pop in and I pop out. Instagram, we're here, we're there. The way our day is structured is we are focused on our clients are number 1. And number 2, we hop into the membership. So depending on what we need to do or what we need to create or what we need to serve, that's where we're at. You have a question, you need some advice, we're checking it. You're texting, you're posting in the middle of the night. My sister and I are going to try and help you as much as we can. So the membership is where we hang out. We really found for ourselves we needed to quiet the noise because there's so many distracting components of social media and so many different places that we had to be. This was a great way to keep our energies concentrated to the community that we knew. So I just want you to know, like, a lot of times people don't understand like what that means. So I want to explain to you that everyone's in this membership for a different reason. Fascinatingly, we mentioned this morning to our VIPs, 60% of our membership are actually professionals. They might be parents and professionals. There are many folks who are not parents that are in our membership. They just want to help themselves, and they connect to understanding neuroscience as being a cause of their issues or productivity. So this is a place where you can really, really find that and delve deeper into whatever your needs are. So I wanted to also mention that some questions that came in were what this community means. I keep spinning around it. It's a place where you can, and maybe I should show like a little bit about our hacking anxiety. Let me set that up. If you want to start explaining a little bit about the community, I'm going to take them to the dashboard just to share with them about the
Okay.
circle. Tell
Wait,
them
you want me
about
to
the
explain?
circle. Yeah,
Okay,
just share
so
a little bit about the circle, and I'll share the screen in a second.
okay, so we have obviously we have our platform, which I don't know if you mentioned is not on social media.
That's right.
So everything that we present, the modules, the Q&As, are a platform where it is, you don't have to have social media. You can decide to put it on your phone. You could decide that you just want it on your computer. And we have a separate platform called Circle, which is like a community chat. And this is also not on social media. There are no ads. It is completely private. Only members have access to this. And what's beautiful about the circle is that you can go and direct any of your questions, and it could be general questions, it could be based on topics. We also have many programming that we do. And if you're a member, then you can direct your questions to those specific programs so that it's very targeted in that area. And people come and ask questions, and we are there to answer them as it pertains to you. And it's really for a place where we really monitor what is going on there. People tell us how they really appreciate the safety that they have there, and that they can ask any question they want on really any topic, and we will be there to answer it.
So, for example, I'm sharing here the membership, the Hacking Anxiety Support Group. I'm
Right.
not going to go to the other ones because this one there it was kind of open to the public. So anyone's name that you're seeing is just really they're open to that. And we'll talk about the different day. Like for example, we did like day 3, we did hacks, and then folks are commenting, and there's further discussions, deeper discussions. Like there's a couple of questions I need to answer this one, for example. So here's where you continue the dialogue. So instead of just hearing or learning about something, when you're applying it or implementing, you have an opportunity to do that. And I'll show you just on the side, for those who are members, we have different ways of kind of supporting you, whether you're a new parent and you're trying to prevent anxiety or difficulties. There are different communication spaces where you can post questions. We have a way to get back to learning about just what's coming up if you want to see all the events that are coming up. And this is a great platform that's, again, off social media, allowing folks to have the opportunity to learn and grow and support each other. And it's been beautiful, frankly, just really, really beautiful seeing the results of all these folks being together.
100%.
Okay, I think I covered everything that has to do with that. Let me see if there are any questions that are coming in on any of the platforms. I don't think there are right now. Again, this was a spontaneous live. We just tried to squeeze it in our day in order to help everyone. Tomorrow at 12 p.m., the membership doors are closing. So if you've been intrigued over the year and you've seen some of the posts that we've shared or some of the success stories, or you've heard about it from some of the testimonials that we have, check out our page. You can find information about Transcend on LinkedIn at my bio. You can also see it on our Instagram feed, and on YouTube, it'll be in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to
Thank
see you
you.
in Transcend. Take care
Bye
now.
now.